Hi everyone, welcome to Sunny Day Discussions. I am Sunny Day. Today I kind of want to go over the voting process, the Electoral College, and if we need election reform. The Electoral College was kind of instituted to help balance out the populations between the northern and southern states. When it was implemented, the southern states had a lot of slaves, and only 3 out of 5 Black people were considered in the census in the population, yet they had no right to vote. So in order to balance that, the Electoral College was put into play. And each state has a number of representatives that represent them in Congress. And it comes down to just a few states, whether or not a president campaigns there. They're kind of like the deciding states, which seems odd to me. Which means that the president doesn't have to go to every state, or a candidate, go to every state and try to convince people that they know what's best for the country. You know, they kind of just ignore all the rest of the states. And there is nothing in the Constitution that says that the Electoral College electors have to vote with the popular vote in their state. It's kind of just always been expected that it would be that way. So, say Oregon, relatively blue state, regularly. Now, if the majority of the population voted for Biden in 2020, but our electors didn't want Biden to win, they decided, nah, we're going to vote for Trump. They can do that. There is nothing in the Constitution stopping them. And out of the last six presidential runs, 2 of the candidates have won the presidency by winning the Electoral College votes, but not the popular vote. So there's something pretty anti-democratic about that. And now the populations have balanced out. Everyone has the right to vote. So it seems like it's just an antiquated event. And with the potential for the corruption involved with the electors, it seems like there's a lot of weaknesses and flaws in that process. So in my opinion, I think we need to eliminate the Electoral College and just let the people decide. Let the popular vote be who determines the presidency. And I think there's a lot of reform that needs to happen in regards to our election system. It seems like immediately following an election, it's time to start campaigning again for the next election. So we're talking 2 years of campaigning before the next election. Even though they just won an election, they immediately start campaigning again, fundraising in order to afford to run. And there's something wrong with that. When you have a member of the House who was elected fantastically, Maxwell Frost, but he had to go into so much debt in order to afford his run for Congress, there's something wrong. And there's something wrong with the sheer millions and millions of dollars that are in our elections, and the constant, continuous campaigning and fundraising. It's exhausting. In my opinion, there should be 6 months before an election where people campaign. I don't think it should be based on fundraising. I think that each candidate, when they qualify, they should have to qualify. The government gives them a set amount of money, and that's it. That's all they can have. And they use that set of money, and it's equal across the board. They use that set of money however they want, whether it's by knocking on doors and traveling the country and hosting town halls, or, you know, it could be used for advertisements, that kind of a thing. So I think there's a more fair system to be had. With our current system, like Maxwell Frost, you either have to go into debt in order to run, or you have to already be wealthy. And in this country, the wealthy tend to be out of touch with the rest of the populace. Particularly people who were born into wealth, have maintained that wealth. They don't understand what it's like living from paycheck to paycheck, having to decide whether or not you feed your family or you pay this bill. You keep your electric on, or you make a car payment because you don't have adequate public transportation. They don't know what it's like, so they can't empathize. And therefore they make policies that are contrary to what the average person would need and that would help them, because they just don't get it. So if we have that base number of money that people can use to campaign, that makes it fair across the board. And the only stipulation is that you would have to qualify. And by that, I mean, you need to be able to pass a basic civics test. You know, it's just a generalized understanding of how government works. Nothing major, nothing involved, nothing in depth, just a basic understanding. And a basic understanding of the interpretations of the Constitution. Because there's some people in Congress, particularly on the right, that really don't know what's in each amendment. I've heard Lauren Boebert say that the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. And if you take it literally, she's right. The wordage, separation of church and state, is not in the Constitution. But it is in the First Amendment that there is a division between, and needs to be a division between, church and state. First Amendment, right there, clear. I can't quote it verbatim, but it's there. And so when you have elected members of Congress that really have no clue how civics works, have no clue what the Constitution says, they can spout whatever they want, and the people who have no clue about any of that either believe them, which causes a whole lot of misinformation and disinformation and lies to be spread. So there should be a basic exam that you have to pass, and then the government allots you the money, and then you can campaign for 6 months, and that's it. End this continuous campaigning. End this continuous fundraising. And particularly, don't let lobbyists and corporate donors donate millions of dollars to specific candidates, because that's basically legalized bribery. And that needs to stop, because that breeds corruption, and I know I've been there before. Money breeds corruption. Get the money out, give everyone an equal amount, and I think our elections would be more fair. And I also think make mail-in voting nationwide. More people will participate. They will be safer and more accurate. Oregon's been doing it for decades, and we have extremely safe elections. And more people participate because you have people with health issues that can't get out of the house. You have people with anxiety that struggle to leave the house. And this way they can participate. It makes sense to me. Anyway, this is the part of the video that's awkward. I never quite know how to end it. That's what I have to say about elections. And hopefully I got some people to think. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. You know, all that good stuff. Awkward promoting myself at the end of the video stuff that I'm not good at. So like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.